Hello everyone and welcome to another Bitsbox unboxing video. This time something a little bit different. We're going to be having a look at Tanks by Gale Force Online. This is the starter set, Panther versus Sherman. I'm going to open it up and have a look at what's inside. This is, as you can probably guess by the name of the tanks, a World War II tank skirmish game. I've been told that apparently it's quite similar to X-Wing with tanks, so we'll see about that. So, crack open the box. The first thing we get here is our two sprues for the Panther, which gets quite a bit of plastic actually, and an appreciable level of detail. Just bring that up close there. Yeah, that's actually much better than I thought. And interestingly, there's another hull here. I'm guessing you can build this as one of two, because this, I think it's a Hetzer rather than a Panther, because there's two different tops of hull, so and two different cannon barrels. One there. So it looks like you might get your choice of different tanks in this box. I'm personally probably going to go for the Hetzer. I just quite like the idea of the assault gun. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. We'll have a look at the instructions and see if they say anything about that. For the Yanks, we get our two Shermans. Now it looks like on here it is just one chassis. Lots of small pieces though. It looks like you get, I'm guessing, the different variants they had. Two MGs. Some quite nice little bits here actually, and quite a lot of customization potential by the look of it. There's two different mantlets there. So, given that both are the same sprue, presumably that means different weapon options. I'm guessing you can take the upgraded cannon they took in the late war at a certain cost, something along those lines. Looking at the detail of the plastics, they're appreciable for the price. This starter box we got from our local store for about £18, and given the cheap nature of the starter box, that's pretty nice plastics. Now, unlike games like X-Wing, you will be assembling and possibly painting these if you're that way inclined yourself. So you have to bear that in mind in terms of value for money, but compared to the X-Wing starter set, it comes in quite a bit cheaper, about half the price. You get a nice selection of 12 dice, 6 good old green US Army, and 6 nice grey Wehrmacht. Is that the right section of the German military, the Wehrmacht? We get what looks like our tank cards here. Let's see if I can get this open. Haven't got much in the way of nails. There we go. So we get our Panther there. Oh, Jagd Panther. Okay, so that explains the alternate chassis. So I got that wrong. It wasn't a Hetzer, it was a Jagd Panther. And it looks like you can build one or the other. There's a Stug, the Panzer IV, Shermans, 75mm, and 76. That would explain the different cannon then. A Pershing. Now a lot of these models are going to come from the alternate packs you can buy. I've personally bought a Panzer IV, which came in at quite a nice tidy sum of £7 for quite a nice little tank. The Super Pershing. T-34s, that's a nice classic, and then the 85 for the upgraded cannon. Then there's the SU-85 and 100, the ISU-122 or 152, and the IS-2. Wow, there's quite a large selection of tanks available here. IS-85, the British Comet, Cromwell, Sherman Firefly off the 17-pounder, and the Sherman 5. Which interesting. So there's quite a selection of cards, and as you can see, there's Wehrmacht, there's US Army, there's the Soviet Red Army, and then there's there's quite a bit of the Soviet Red Army actually, and then there's a handful of British tanks. To be fair, it was the Germans and the Russians who are known for a variety of tanks more than the British, as far as I'm aware at least. The Russian and British tanks are apparently due out July and August respectively. So I'm looking forward to the release of those, especially the Russians. I quite like the T-34 as a tank. We'll look into these in more detail later, once we get a bit of a understanding of the rules. These small upgrade cards, I imagine, which does sound quite like the X-Wing formula. Small cards you can pay for and take to improve the performance of a particular, well, I was about to say ship, now this is a tank. So let's see. Start off with, we get our commanders. So this looks like a generic commander. You get aggressive commanders, cunning commanders. So basically give you +1 lightning bolt. We'll find out what that does in a minute. Loaders. So you can upgrade most of your tank crew then. That's quite cool. It's nice to see a system that does acknowledge the fact that loaders and other crewmen do exist. Many other systems such as 40k have a very simplified sense of tank combat. So yeah, we've got loaders, we've got drivers, and again that's cunning. Oh, and you've got more commanders. It looks like these are quite mixed up by the look of it. So hasty loader. So yeah, we've got a racing driver. I like the idea of that one. Radio operators, oh that's interesting. So yeah, they've got the gunner, obviously, you've got the full gamut of all the different roles in the tank. So you can upgrade every aspect of your tank effectively. And then we've got named commanders, presumably you're only allowed one of, although I haven't quite looked at that yet. As you saw, I literally just ripped this open. But War Daddy, subtle reference there for those who've seen Fury. I'm not sure if persons such as these are actually based on real life commanders or if they're just generic ones. But you know, and then we get equipment, which liquid courage. I'm looking forward to putting that on my Russian tanks. Maybe put giant vats of vodka to represent it. So you get the equipment as well as upgrading your various people. Oh, interesting. And different ammo. So it's quite a lot of customization. The engine as well, the armor. So you can customize every aspect of your tank if you want to, which is pretty solid. And then finally, we've got our, let's get that. So it looks like what these are our damage cards. Lucky hit, lucky hit, lucky hit. That's very a lot of them, so you'd be quite lucky by the look of it. Ammo explosion, that should be quite nasty. Ooh. So taking ammo is a real risk by the look of it. If you take a lot of ammo, your tank's going to be full of, well, it's going to be a giant powder keg basically. Injured crew. So I'm just damaged engine, bailed out. So that's pretty interesting. You can do a lot of damage to the tanks. Jam the turret, it becomes an assault gun. That's quite a good way of representing that. Shell shocked. Engine fire. So in a nutshell, there's quite a bit of nuance to this by the look of it. And obviously the last thing we've got here is the rulebook, which we won't go into too much detail on because I don't want to basically sit there and read a rulebook to you for the entire video. Imagine that'd be quite tedious listening to my voice. Get a lot of, come on, out you come. There we go. A lot of cardboard terrain. It's quite, you can see there, it's quite thick cardboard. It's not cheap stuff, I'll give them that. Now obviously this sort of terrain is your out of the box starter stuff. You would presumably be using, I imagine, generic hills and such for whatever war game takes your fancy. But this is quite nice fit card. It's quite solid, to be fair, especially for the low price of entry of this game. That's decent quality card. So yep, that's just a bunch of forests either side. As you can see there, woods provide cover all round apparently, just to make sure you don't forget. And then we get another set of woods. So I got them, and it looks like we get a load of houses. So you can't move through them and they block line of sight. It's quite nice that the terrain rules is actually on the terrain. It may mitigate the immersion a bit, but personally I think it's nice to have that lack of ambiguity, and you can have intact building or ruined build. Oh no. Are these double-sided? Yeah, they are. So intact and ruined. Oh no, that's just different buildings. But that's quite a nice little bit of variety there, just so you can mix up your terrain, create some nice scenic setups. So these seem to be our damage tokens here. Both sides. We've got our objective tokens. Red objective, blue objective. So imagine you can have a full-on red versus blue game if you'd like. Oop. Unsure those are. They look like tank tracks. And they're the same on the other side, just twos, and ooh, tank destroyed, I'm guessing. So, given the quality of the stuff out of the box, the plastics are very nice. We've got movement tokens here by the look of it. Soviet ID tokens, German ID tokens. Imagine that so you can point out which tank is which and link them to your tank card, so you could have them identified nicely by the tokens. It does solve the problem with other games where, for example, the pose of the miniature is exactly the same as the artwork on the card, just to make sure you don't mess it up. But obviously with stuff like World War II tanks, you can't do different poses so much. There's the American ones, the British ones, nice and simplistic. We don't mess around. But the American ones, quite cool ones there. Just get that into focus. There we go. So yeah, and on the other side, more identification tokens. Actually, no, they're just the same on the other side. So that is the tokens and the terrain. We've looked at the cards, of which you get nice variety. You get more than you actually have tanks to play with, to be fair, but that does give you the option if you're playing with a friend. You know, you build the assault gun carriage and you could quite easily play it as a Stug or a Panther. I do hope they release the Hetzer at some point because I quite like the little Hetzer. And we'll just have a quick look through the rulebook, just get an idea of what it's about. So according to the box, it's a 20-page rulebook. Some quite nice artwork for Panther there. A nice little blurb explaining the various tank wars, and in true American fashion, there's a crap ton of Shermans. We'll just get through the contents page. Nice little fluff blurb. Quick overview of the various tanks. Panzer, Panther, Sherman Firefly and the Comet. We've got the Sherman and the Pershing, the T-3485 and the SU-100. We've got the turn sequence. We'll be looking to do a basically introductory video on how to play it, so I won't go into too much detail on, you know, the rules and such. We'll be going through that in the video because I think that's a much better way to do it in a battle report, so you can learn it in action rather than doing it in terms of me sitting there reading a book out to you. But yep, there's quite nice. This actually reminds me of a good old school White Dwarf. The nice diagrams and such. Got some pretty cool artwork there. I'm quite a fan of tanks, I have to say. Oh, is that a tiger? Is that a tiger? I'm not sure. I'm not too great at identifying Sherman tanks. Oh, no prize for guessing what that is. Yep, and then you've got your keyword references, rules on building platoons, various missions. So, looks at that one. Sounds like, oh, that's just straight up kill or be killed. King of the Hill, that's quite self-explanatory. So there's a nice mix, fairly standard scenarios. Oh, and assembly instructions for your Shermans. They look nice and simple. So for your 76 or 75, looking like the only thing that really changes is the turret. But the nice thing is, since only the turret changes, having built the Panther, you don't even need to worry about magnetizing these. They fit quite nicely just in the turret mount there. So if you want to have them interchangeable, there's that option. The Panther and Jagd Panther. Oh, there's no instructions for building the Jagd Panther, but there is the parts, as far as I can tell. So that one will be one you'd have to work out yourself. Oh, that's that, and there's a quick reference sheet at the back, which is quite nice. So you can just look at the back rulebook for the basics on all sorts of things. Now just double check that. No, that, yeah, it's pretty obviously a second tank here. So given that there's only one set of tracks, you're not going to get two tanks out of this, but it does look like, especially with the alternate weapon, it does look like you get the option of the Jagd Panther or the Panther, though if you're building the Jagd Panther, you're going to be going it alone in terms of build instructions. It's a little bit annoying, but to be fair, the Jagd Panther is even mentioned on the box, so that is quite a nice little extra to add in there. Anyway, to summarise, we've got the Panther and Jagd Panther. We've got two Shermans. We've got some pretty solid cardboard stock terrain. Again, that's probably going to last you. Like, a lot of cardboard terrain is quite flimsy. It's made out of standard card. We've got rules for various tanks, even ones that aren't included in the box. So you can play with a variety of units out of the box. You're not limited to just playing a Panther versus Shermans and then having to buy expansions to try out the tanks. You can try out other tanks. You can have a, well, I pulled a Sherman out there. I was going to pick a random tank. That's also a Sherman. You have a Pershing versus a Su-85, for example. And you could just agree with your opponent that you're going to proxy them as such and get quite a nice variety of play at the box. Overall, I think this box is actually pretty great value for the £18 asking price. I'm not sure what it retails for normally, but that's what I got this from our local store, and it was quite a pleasant little surprise that sort of came out of left field. So yeah, we'll be getting the game out and giving it a go, learning the rules, and seeing if we can do a battle report as a sort of tutorial for the game. So keep an eye out for that on the channel, and we'll hopefully have that out sometime mid-July. Until then, we'll see you later.